Your iPad is dead. You grab a USB-C cable, plug it in, nothing. You swap it for a different one. Identical port, identical shape, identical little oval, and the screen lights up like nothing happened. Same hole, same connector, different outcome. You bought a USB-C cable. What you actually own is one of dozens of different cables that all look like cousins and behave like strangers. The freeway and the dirt road wear the same uniform. The 240-watt power line and the trickle charger wear the same uniform. The cable that will run a 4K monitor and the one that can barely wake a phone wear the same uniform. The question isn't why your USB-C cable doesn't work. The question is, why does it ever work at all? The letters USB stand for Universal Serial Bus. Universal, as in one shape that fits everything, one cable that handles every job, one drawer you never have to dig through again. That's the promise printed on the sticker. The reality lives in the drawer. Your drawer of doom is the receipt for that promise. 3 chargers, 6 cables, 2 adapters from devices you don't even own anymore. And somewhere in that pile is the one cable that actually does what you bought it for. And you have no idea which one. USB has a family secret. The letters tell you the shape. The numbers tell you the speed. They aren't the same story. Type A is the old rectangle on the back of every desktop. Type E is the chunky square plug on your printer. Type C is the little oval, the famous one. The one that finally lets you plug a cable in without rotating it 3 times. Type C earned its fame on geometry alone. But geometry is only the doorway. Through that doorway, the numbers do the heavy lifting. USB 2.0 is mailing a letter. USB 3-something is shipping a package. USB 4 feels instant. If everything on both ends agrees to play along, a cable can be USB 2.0 hiding inside a Type-C shell. It will fit your laptop perfectly. It will charge your phone slowly. It will move a video file at a speed last seen during dial-up. And from the outside, it looks identical to a cable that does 10 times the work. Here's what most people get wrong. They say USB-C the way you say car, like it names one thing. It doesn't. USB-C is a shell, a wrapper, a standardized doorway that can be wired 15 different ways depending on the cable's job. Some USB-C cables have 6 wires inside, some have 24. Same connector, same oval, same satisfying click when you plug it in. The wires inside are doing all the deciding, and you can't see any of them. In the old USB days, a cable had 2 jobs: carry power, carry data, everybody happy. USB-C arrived in a world where one little oval is suddenly expected to do everything. Charge a phone, power a laptop, run a monitor, feed a docking station, all at once. That's why manufacturers started wiring cables for different jobs. Some are built for charging only, some for data, some for video output, some for all of it. Everything fits. Not everything works. The moment you plug a USB-C cable in, 2 devices start talking. The charger asks a question, the device answers. The cable eavesdrops on both. The industry calls these roles sink and source. Source has the power. Sink needs it. They check in, agree on a level, and only then does electricity flow. No agreement, no current. The plug is in, the light is dark, and you're standing there blaming the wall. It's not the wall, it's the handshake. And the handshake failed. The handshake is a tiny thing. A single resistor sitting on a single wire inside the device, basically raising a hand and saying, "I'm here, I'm ready, send power." No resistor, no raised hand, no charge. That bargain bin USB rechargeable flashlight Someone left out the resistor to save 2 cents. Your good USB-C cable plugs in, and the charger sees an empty room. No hand went up. Nothing flows. Here's the punchline that breaks people's brains. The old cable, the boxy USB-A to USB-C in the back of your drawer, works on that flashlight. Because USB-A doesn't ask. It doesn't wait for a handshake. It just shoves power down the line and hopes for the best. Your modern cable is too polite. Your old cable is too rude to care. And the cheap gadget? It only responds to rudeness. That's why one cable in your house is a flashlight whisperer. The handshake doesn't only check the device, it checks the cable. More power means more current. More current means more heat. When your MacBook wants to pull 96 watts through that little oval, the system asks one extra question. Can this cable actually carry it? Higher power cables hide a tiny chip inside called an E-marker, an ID badge. It tells the charger, I'm rated for the big jobs. Without that badge, the system plays safe and caps the wattage. Your battery just sits there. This is where Thunderbolt walks into the story. The cable with the tiny lightning bolt logo. Thunderbolt is USB-C with stricter rules. Every cable certified to actually do the heavy lifting. Faster data, higher wattage, reliable video. It costs more. It just works. If you've ever wondered why a $30 cable feels suspiciously different from a $5 one, that's why. The $5 one made no promises. The $30 one signed a contract. There's a catch nobody mentions on the box. The faster a USB-C cable goes, the shorter it has to be. High-speed signals start falling apart over distance. Physics doesn't care about your desk layout. The best do-everything cables top out around 3 feet, sometimes less. If you were imagining a Thunderbolt cable that stretches across the room like an appliance cord, USB-C is going to politely ask you to lower your expectations. If you want one cable that mostly works on everything you own, 3 numbers on the label tell you everything. USB 4, 40 gigabits, 240 watts. That combination charges a laptop, drives a monitor, and moves files faster than you can think to check. And the moment you find that cable, label it. Tape, sticker, ribbon, anything. The war is never against the technology. The war is against the drawer. Here's the part nobody tells you. USB-C isn't really a cable at all. It's a negotiation. The shape is just where the conversation happens. What gets agreed inside, power, data, video, none of the above, depends on who's talking, what each side claims to handle, and whether the cable between them can keep up. The connector hasn't failed. There is no single thing called USB-C to fail. There are only conversations, and the ones that didn't finish. The next time a cable lets you down, you'll know the truth. The label never bothered to print. The port isn't the product. The cable isn't the product. The product is the conversation between 2 devices. And you bought a stranger who happens to know one of the languages. Looks the same. Almost never is.